can you just talk a little bit about how this movie did come to you? What did draw you to it? Like I said, I'm a big, killer robots go bad kind of fan. Is that something that you have always kind of been into too?
Yeah, I think in a broader term, I have always been excited about the idea of sci-fi, just as a genre. So when someone brought a script, to me saying this is a sci-fi film, I was just like so excited as a filmmaker. I was like, oh my God, the creative ways you can go about this are endless. But what I really loved about it was that how it kind of starts out as this kind of erotic thriller and melts into this sci-fi thriller towards the end and kind of connecting those two worlds together. To me that was really exciting because it allowed us to focus on the story on a much more intimate level and seeing this world through the lens of this family. So for me that was really a really exciting kind of way into this story. And I thought April and Will did a great job with the script, and it just really excited me to kind of come on board and develop it further and see what we could do.
And now I know you previously did another thriller with Megan Fox, Till Death, which I loved. I thought that was such
Oh,
a
thank you.
fun, wild, twisted ride. But can you just talk about getting her for this? What made you think she was the one to play Alice, to be this evil robot?
Well, I Till Death, it's such an interesting, it's such a different performance to this. So that
Yeah,
excited me already. It was like, okay, we're not doing the same thing again. We're doing something completely different. And I really felt that she, uh, with the intimate scenes and everything, having built that trust from the first film with her, I thought, well, that's a really great way, to kind of build this, a safe environment for us to explore these intimate scenes and try and, shoot something that felt unique.
hmm,
And there are certain aspects to these intimate scenes that are kind of different from others where we're intercutting with different actors and back and forth. So we needed them to be on set together and kind of watching to make sure we were kind of imitating what was being seen and everything. So having someone that we had built that trust with went a long way. And
hmm.
I there's something about it that was kind of clicking in the back of my head. Was thinking about Jennifer's Body and the way her character arc is in that. I felt there was a lot of similarities here, and I
Totally.
thought, her fan base would really love to kind of see her become that badass, killer again. So it was
Right.
exciting to kind of see that on happening on a monitor.
Right. She definitely gets to go full unhinged again at the end, which I think her fans, yes, being one of them, we are very into. And can you also talk about, casting the rest of the film? Like, you do have two of, I think, the hottest actors in Hollywood headlining in this movie. Just that has to feel nice that you're able to get them, and then, just how did you land on them?
Definitely. No, it was great. And it was, something we had spoken about. It's funny, I haven't actually said this, but one of the inspirations for this movie was Unfaithful. And when we were
Mm.
kind of developing this script, I kept saying, I just need a incredibly sexy French man. And we ended up finding an incredibly sexy Italian man. Uh,
It
but
works.
I, when I had my first discussion with him, the first thing I said to him was, "This is about a father. This role is about a father who's, really struggling to stay afloat. And I don't want you to come in and play this as sexy as possible and look as sexy as possible." And Michele, he was on the same page already. He totally agreed with me. And in fact, when he came on set, he said, "I don't want any makeup. I want to, I want every wrinkle and crease to come through the lens." Unfortunately, he's too gorgeous for that to happen. But
You can only do so much.
but something else that was interesting was we were kind of speeding up to the shooting date so quickly that we actually needed to cast Isla, the child, first because of all the safety protocols of having a child
Mm.
on set, all the paperwork and everything. So we ended up that was kind of scary, was to be like, we have to pick who the child is, and that was going to lock us in for who the mother and father was. And we were looking at the same time, but it was like, you've got 5 days to figure this out. And so that was really scary, but it was also freeing in a way because it allowed us to go, all right, who is the best child performer? Who is going to bring their A game on
Mm.
set? And Matilda Firth, she just nails it, and nailed it from the first audition. So once we located, once we kind of locked down on her, then it was kind of figuring out who, all right, who can we lock in around? And we were already kind of having discussions with Michele, but we hadn't fully, figured that out. But I think the funny thing about it is that Madeline Zimmer, who plays the mother,
Hmm.
she looks so similar to to Matilda. I feel like she looks
Yes.
more like her mother than her actual mother, really. And so that was quite amazing how that all kind of fell into place. And again, Madeline was just the perfect person for the role. I wasn't even
Yeah.
thinking at that stage how they looked alike. It wasn't until like we kind of put their photos on the wall that I was like, oh wow, they really actually resemble each other.
Well, we should go with that.
Yeah.
And, can you talk a little bit about just coming up with how, Megan's performance for this, how you worked together to find those mannerisms, the way she was going to speak, just because that, I mean, she's a full on, it's a totally different character.
Yeah, she came in early on with this idea of physically being a ballerina, her
Mm.
performance being, slow but precise, and her posture always up, and everything like that. So we kind of once she kind of found that physical performance, I think her voice and everything kind of fell in line with that. And it was really trying to figure out, for me, the vital point was that we didn't go too robotic as we were approaching those intimate scenes, because I thought
Mm.
those scenes could completely fall apart. So it was trying to slowly add a little bit of emotion as we were kind of approaching those scenes, and playing into that, so it just felt a little bit more humanistic as we got into that
Yeah.
sequence. And then from there, I think the biggest um hurdle was really like as we get into the third act and we play with the glitching out and
Yeah.
the chaotic kind of performance there. um and I think she had a lot of fun with kind of doing these like more glitching ones, and then doing this kind of like really calm, methodical performance with spoilers, with something else.
Hmm.
um so that was exciting, and we kind of played, those glitching. We played it at different levels and different takes, and we're kind of like, all right, let's go bigger, let's go bigger. Now pull it in, let's try
Yeah.
this, that, and it was really a fun exploration in the editing room to see what we could do and how we could make those work.
Mm. And you talk a little bit about these intimate scenes that the two leads do have. You know, when it comes to filming those, did you have intimacy coordinators or body doubles involved? Just what's it like working with the actors when it comes to filming those types of scenes?
Yeah, we had intimacy coordinators on board, and I really loved it because you have to delve into it more into prep, and
Yeah.
I wanted to convey visually what we were going for very quickly. So I had actually treated it like an action sequence, and storyboarded it all out. And um, the intimacy coordinators and the actors really loved that, because they get a very strong idea of, okay, this is what we want, this is how it's going to happen. But what I really liked about the intimacy like coordinators within the prep of it all was they would ask questions that were story driven, like, okay, how aggressive is this intimate scene? how
Mm.
how sensual is it? Is there kissing? How, if there is kissing, is it kind of pashing or just pecking? And I don't know if these are Australian terms. I hope you understand what I'm
Nope, I
saying.
gotcha.
But but yeah, and it really got me thinking about these scenes from the story point of view, which I think is vital.
Yeah.
And it was great. We That allows them to then go to the actors separately and say, hey, this is what the director is wanting. If there's any sort of concerns or anything, they come back and we talk about it and everything. And I felt once we got on set, everyone felt really safe. And yeah, we also have a particular scene that needed to have both actresses in there at this, you know,
Mm.
and watching each other to in order to imitate those on different takes. So you know, a lot of it was kind of scheduling these scenes further down the track so these actors could, you know, build a rapport, build this relationships before you get on set and have to do stuff like this. So
Yeah.
for me, that is also a vital point, is making sure that you know, it's not day one you're throwing him in the deep end with a scene like
Right.
this.
Well, a mission accomplished. Though I mean, the movie is a wild ride. It's a fun ride, and I think people are gonna have a lot of fun with it. So, thank you
Thank you
for
so
your
much. I
time
really
today.
appreciate
Have
it.
a great one.